All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday night, last day of March, amazingly. So welcome to spring and all the beautiful things it brings. And welcome to Talk Openly. I'm Jack, and I'm here with my wonderful friend Daniel from Lions Roar Dharma Center. And we're here to chat about our lives and all the funny things that go along with them. Daniel, it's really good to see you.
It's nice to see you too, Jack. Hi, everybody.
We're going to be talking tonight in the second half of our show about what is a friend and what is an enemy. And they're not as obvious as they seem.
What? You're my friend. You
You're
said,
my friend too. Yeah, no, this there are some some ways that it can be obvious, but we'll talk about all the gradients, the gray areas.
yeah, the multiple meanings.
Multiple meanings. Yes. What is a
Ah,
true friend? Yeah.
what is it? Ah.
Well, before we jump into that, maybe we can check in as buddies, as friends. What's going
Yeah,
on in your
yeah.
world?
You
Yeah.
you you go first. Yeah,
Me? Okay.
I
You
always
always
go
go
first.
first.
I always go first, and I want to
Okay.
know about you. I want to know what have you been up to? How's life? The new job, and how's your practice and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm tired.
All right.
I feel physically tired, but mentally I'm all right. And yeah, my new job, every time I start a new job, it's like there's so much at the beginning, right? There's like so much screen time with going through trainings and it's kind of a drag and I just want to have clients.
Yeah.
Um, but the people are really nice. And yeah, I think it's going to be cool. So I'm looking forward to things kind of picking up and getting into more
Yeah.
of a regular rhythm. I know I
You're
was
in that
talking
sort of transition zone right now.
still in the transition zone. Yeah, I know I was talking, maybe it was last time or just recently about how yeah, destabilizing
Yep.
these major changes are. Of course we're experiencing subtle change constantly. But kind of these big time changes where it's like my whole environment's different, my schedule is a little bit different, the people I'm interacting with are different. And so it's just kind of like, whoa. What's going on here? And even though it's like a positive change, it's still like for me, it's kind of anxiety provoking. Um,
It's kind of like what you feel when you travel, right? Traveling's fun and being like in a new country where they everything's different. It's fun and exciting, but it's draining, right? Because
yeah,
you're trying to figure things out. You're like, where am I? Who am I? What is going on here? You know?
for
So your
sure.
your poor little brain trying to keep up with
Yeah.
that. Hmm.
That's why I like vacations where I don't do much.
Right.
Yeah, where I'm just like, I just want to sit here in this possibly pretty place and
Hmm.
just kick back and meditate even. Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Why
you and
not?
me both. That's what I want too. I don't need to go to some far-flung lands to,
Totally.
explore all the. I mean, I like that too. Don't get me wrong. Like I love exploring, but for
Yeah,
a vacation, nah, it's a little different. That's just like let's just chill.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm in the busy travel mode of of things.
Yeah.
Um and ways that it's affected or affected my practice affecting that. Um, I'm finding myself like trying throughout the day to remind myself of my intention, because I can so easily, as we talked about many times, just like kind of bulldoze through the day. It really feels like that.
Yeah.
Um, and so, when I have a moment and just remind myself, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where are you at right now? Where's the intention? That always helps. It's never the wrong choice.
No, it's alignment. It's realignment sometimes. And sometimes it's just noticing that you're already in alignment,
Yeah.
right? There's not, like the little check-in, it'll reveal whether you're in alignment or not, right? And if you're not, like you're like, oh, I'm a little bit off or I'm a lot off, and then you can kind of come back to your values and your intention.
Yeah. Right. Right. So
Mindfulness, baby.
mindfulness. Yeah.
Yeah,
A little more of the same in a very different place. Right?
exactly.
Not much is going to change in the way of the training. The training is, that's going to be it no matter where I am.
Yeah.
So
Now, do you notice out of curiosity, are you, when you say your intention, there's like broad sort of lifelong intention, right? And then there's like smaller, more sort of refined intentions. Like, do you notice it shifting a lot? Like from, like a sort of a personal sort of oriented intention to more altruistic intentions, or like how does the intention arise?
yeah, it shifts depending on what I'm doing. And so sometimes I'll just like catch myself and say something like it's all bodhicitta. Like it's just bodhicitta in the beginning, bodhicitta in the middle, and in the end bodhicitta. I just like, kind of like the very broad
Yeah.
view. Which then, I mean, it also brings it down to like the very, this moment with others. But yeah, most of the time at work, it's like, how am I interacting with this person? Am I, bringing, am I allowing bodhicitta to speak for me, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and to really be with this person. And sometimes too, I try and do a little bit of just like the almost like. I don't know if it's in psychology terms, if it's like a gestalt or something, or kind of like Dzogchen, like just kind of, really, really try and hyper focus present, if that makes sense. And yeah, this kind of sense of unity with my environment in a way. And, I'm not saying that that's Dzogchen. I'm just, that's been a little bit my experience when trying to practice kind of like the Mahamudra text is this like immediacy of experience. And so
Hmm.
sometimes I try and like bring that, um,
Yeah.
right here, and yeah, so it's just those little things that I try and pepper in throughout my day because I don't have it as a continuity yet. I know there are beings, I think including our teacher, definitely, who are just constantly on. But I have to, have the reminders, the check-ins. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it shows up.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. Exactly what you described.
Mhm.
Huh. It's interesting. It's the Mahamudra Dzogchen stuff is kind of interesting because there's this like it's like it feels like um sort of this direct sort of awareness of reality, or meditating on reality as Lama puts it. Like it it's strange because it does require this mindful aware of what it is that's uh obscuring it, because it's
Mm.
not, you don't have to do something, it's already there.
Yeah,
There's not a thing to be done there, but there is something to be done with the stuff that is blocking the view.
yeah.
The discursive thoughts that are there.
Yeah, is that an affirming negative or a non-affirming negative?
Mhm. Yeah, it is both an affirming negative and not an affirming negative. It is neither and both. And what's that? The
Yeah.
tetralemma. Oh, you got to apply that.
Yeah, the tetralemma. Yeah. Damn. Cool. Yeah, no, yeah, I like that about these puzzles, of meditation. Like the kind of koan aspect of it.
It's almost that aspect of it I think is cool because it seems to use up some of that energy that goes into normal sort of discursive thought, but does it in a helpful way to like spit
Yeah.
it out and then reduces it, and then you're like, ah, there, I don't have to think anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Well,
Fun.
one thing I wanted to mention too before I want to ask you about your life. There is a Catholic church right next to where I now work, and they have a little garden out back with like some statues and beautiful flowers. And then behind that is a labyrinth, like a
Oh, how cool is
yeah,
that?
labyrinth, and it's long too. It takes like maybe 10 plus minutes to do the whole like in and out. And it's beautiful. And so we talk about, the kind of
Yeah.
labyrinthine nature of Dharma practice a lot. And so I'll meditate on that while I'm walking, where it's
Oh, that's
kind of like
amazing.
moving towards the center, but then, hey, wait a minute, I'm going out. And it's so beautiful. Like when I first did it, there was like the turn at the end that I really thought, okay, this is where I get to the middle. And then it took like the longest route out. It was so
Oh,
crazy. I thought that I was like off the path.
that's
Um,
awesome.
Turns out I was just closer, even closer. So
Oh,
it's really,
that's
I'm,
rad.
yeah, that I have that kind of like meditative walk that I can do every day.
That's excellent. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. That's awesome.
Find a Catholic church, see if they've got a labyrinth. Walk
Okay.
around.
All right. I'm on a mission. I'm gonna find a labyrinth.
The Davis Cemetery has a labyrinth. I think it's pretty small, but yeah,
All
that's
right. All right. Thanks for
something.
thanks for the pro tip. I'm gonna
Totally.
look into it. I think that'd be fun. I'd love to do what you're talking about. Just go and wander a labyrinth in person and meditate, reflect on that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, how are you doing? What's your life like and how's your training?
Yeah, it's things are continuing. So I've been reading, I continue to read this book by the Dalai Lama called How to See Yourself as You Really Are. And in fact, next month I'm giving a talk on it. So
Awesome.
I'm taking it kind of seriously. I'm reading it through one time right now and doing the meditations and reflections, and then I'll read through it again and kind of plan out how I'm gonna present it. But it's been such a delight. Both in terms of the very um, accessible way in which he points to emptiness and dependent origination, and just makes it's very easy, like in the way that he just like I honestly like the way he explains, you're just like, oh well, duh, yeah, like
Yeah,
he
for sure.
makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And then there are these really wonderful like reflection on it. Like, and now what does that mean? So how did like and the fact that it like extends, it's really I love meditating on sort of the emptiness of the self, and that's a great place to start because it's pretty easy. But then it's what's more fun for me, then of course you begin to like examine the emptiness of all the other phenomena, right? But what's sneaky to me is like the mental phenomena, right? Because
Yeah.
they actually the mental formations feel like it's weird because I can look at like objective reality, physical reality, and no problem. Yes, it's empty. I get it. It's,
Mm.
I don't have there's no mental blockage there as far as I can tell. But when it comes to mental formations, I forget.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't like it's much, much harder, when I have like strong attachment or aversion, either one of them, right? Like especially attachment, like all of it goes right out the window. And then I have to like remember, right, that too empty. And so I've been reflecting, you mentioned Mahamudra Dzogchen, and probably this is all coming up in anticipation of the retreat that's going to be happening soon.
Mm.
But Garab Dorje's three vital points keep coming up for me. In
Mm.
particular, the second one. So the 3 points being introduction to the nature of mind, the second one being decide on one thing and one thing only, and the third one being watching the thoughts or the mental formations self-liberate.
Mhm.
And so I've had some neat experiences. I think thanks to the Dalai Lama's book, predominantly, I had some neat experiences and was sharing them with Lama at Darshan, and he asked me some pointed questions about the nature of thoughts and
Mm.
what I was observing when it came to these thoughts. And the part that I think so something that came up in the conversations that I've been sitting with that has really been kind of mind bending, I think, in a way,
Mm.
is that sitting in the closest thing that I can relate to Mahamudra Dzogchen, right? Um, and then observing these mental formations like come about, noticing how they and the I, the self, are like one and the same. It's really kind of strange, right?
Mm.
Where things are just what they are, right? As they are in reality or whatever. And then there will be this all of a sudden this formation, and it's this strange feeling of like, oh, before that illusion showed up, before that magic trick happened, there was like a that sense of me came first.
Mm.
It's a weird, and seeing that the two things like go hand in hand together has been fascinating. So I've been like, it's kind of I gotta say, like it's mind
Yeah.
like I don't know, like it's been sort of like it's been tweaking my experience of reality in some sense, right? And making me like the reason I brought up Garab Dorje's 3 points is that I keep noticing like, oh right, I remember that I want to decide on this one thing and one thing only. And when I remember that coming back, and notice, then the question is like, what is it that actually happens to those illusory thoughts, right?
Mm.
And that was the challenge that Lama gave me at Darshan. He's like, they don't, because I was like, well, they kind of seem to just move on or dissolve or something. And he was like, no, that's Hinayana, Mahayana maybe, but think about it maybe from a Vajrayana point of view or something. I was like, and he wouldn't answer my question. He was like, come to the retreat.
Yeah.
Little teaser for the retreat. But
Nice.
yeah, so I think I'm primed for it. But I gotta say, like, it really, you asked me before the show started, how am I doing? And I said, like, empty, right? And that's exactly like, not empty, like, oh, I'm drained, but this sort of like, there's been like longer sort of periods, like, almost like throughout the whole day where there's that sense of self just isn't really there, right? And then
Yellow.
the discursive thoughts will show up and I notice them, and then I'm like, hey man, I remember what I decided on. And then it just poof.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing. I love it, but also don't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Are
If
you are you having less thought? Are you noticing like just kind of less?
slower and fewer. And the
Yeah.
part that I noticed, Jack, is not it's not just the speed and the prevalence of discursive thought, but the feelings that those thoughts generate. I noted that's what I'm actually noticing, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the feeling of emptiness is actually the emptiness of a lot of the afflictive emotions, right? And so because it's like this process by which first there's this ignorant assumption of an I, then there's the formation of perceptions or whatever of mental formations, right? And then there's some kind of reaction to that, right? And so the Dalai Lama, like he uses the word lust and hatred. I love the word lust. I'm like, yeah,
Mm.
lust. That
Hmm.
adequately describes what's going on here, right?
Hmm.
And what I noticed, because that's a bad, it's not a good thing, right? That's an afflictive emotion, and it causes suffering,
Yeah,
right?
it does. Yeah.
Especially if you act on it. But
Mhm.
even just on its own, just the experience of it is suffering,
It's
right?
painful. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so noticing the absence of that, I'm like,
Mhm.
that's kind of strange, right? Like it's a different
Mhm.
sort of like like there's a sense of freedom in it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there part of you that like feels nervous about that? Like, is there a
Yes, yes, yes. I'll
like
tell you
self
what.
part?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you the part that feels nervous is there's a sense of because that's the familiar, because that's what I know as self. There's there's this sort of like, but wait, do I if I don't have that, then what?
And what?
Right?
Yeah.
And what is fascinating is that the then what it actually happens on its own. What happens is a great deal more practice, study, energy put into useful activities that benefit, myself and others in good ways, right? Helpful
Mhm.
ways.
Mhm.
And a lot less time and energy and money or whatever spent on things that kind of distract and take me away from that. And I can't help but think that that's a good thing. It seems beneficial, right? But there is I don't know if it's nervousness, but there's a little bit of like discomfort to it, where like because I'm attached to my suffering. And so there's a
Right.
feeling of letting go of that attachment that's a little bit like unnerving. 'Cause I'm like, but
Mhm.
if I what does that mean, right? If
Right.
I let
Right.
go of all of that, am I going to be able to love? Can I love without attachment, for example? Right? It's on the one up here, yes, I want to love without attachment.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah.
easy. But actually, the implications of that are quite profound, right? What does
Yeah.
that look like? Is it possible? Is it possible to, for example, relate in loving ways with other people who don't have that, who aren't in the same place?
Yeah. Right.
Like I'm so used to falling in love with my projections, right? And then being disappointed after some amount of time of trying to make them manifest themselves in this world, right? Concrete. And so I'm so used to that I'm like, what the hell, man? How the F am I supposed to lovingly connect without that attachment,
Yeah.
right? And
Wow.
without all those projections. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't like
Yeah.
that's the thing that's
Okay.
a little bit nervous making. I'm like, I have no idea. It's like an open space where I've never been before.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, exciting.
yeah, what's that?
Exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting like the same way as like the first time like you've never danced publicly before, you've never sang publicly before or something like that. And then you
Mhm.
found yourself on stage and you're like, what the, whoa, 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 hang on a second. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it's cool. I think it's all really positive stuff. Um, yeah, yeah. The one thing I'm trying to keep in mind is our dear teacher's advice to me, his final advice to me at Darshan. Um, he said after a discussion along the same sort of lines here, he was like, "All right, don't fuck it up."
Uh-oh, what does that mean?
I know, Jack. What does that mean? Yeah, and I'm like, all right. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Will I
Yeah.
know it? And will I know after I do it? You know?
Keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep
keep
going.
going, but be
Yeah.
watch
Gotta
it.
be watchful. I often kind of ask myself a question of like, what would I be without this thing? Who or what would I be
Yeah.
without the attachment or the fear or whatever it is? Like, how liberating, you know? But it's like, how do you get there? Is like hard, but it's the path.
Yeah.
Um,
It is the path.
so
It is indeed.
yeah.
I think that's what it means, right? What Lama means when he says the view gets better, but the climb gets
Mhm.
I think it's along those lines. I'm glad though. I'm like I'm all in all very like pleased with all of this. But there's also part of the nervousness comes from like a little bit of it's a like a lack of confidence,
Hmm.
of like there's a lot of sort of like, oh, I don't have solid ground anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know how to be without solid ground, and that, like, do I trust myself in all of
Mm,
this?
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, good thing you have a lot of other things and beings to trust in,
That's right. I have all kinds of support.
Yeah, you have all kinds of
I've
support.
got, yeah, I've got friends and I have kind enemies.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Well, can I ask you one more question
Sure, sure.
before we segue? And you don't have to answer it.
Yeah.
But I kind of, at least just like what I've observed is that your training and like your practice has really deepened in the last like, month or so.
Hmm.
And it seemed to somewhat correlate with shifts in your personal life and
Indeed.
relationships. Would you
Yeah.
say that's true? Like how
Yeah.
has that I'm curious, I'm
Yeah. So when they say that, like a yogi is, retreating to the caves, right? And sort of dispensing with ordinary life, I think what was happening was that in my previous sort of romantic relationship and family dynamic where we were all living together and whatnot, um, but it wasn't prime for a yogi.
mm,
Not for this one anyway. Um, and so even though I'm a householder, uh, I really felt limited in terms of my ability to practice. I felt the pull of all kinds of other responsibilities and needs and expectations and not wanting to inconvenience or bother or pester or whatever, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
now that I have my own little cave, so to speak, um, I'm joyfully just practicing, right? And
Mm,
it the I think I said this before, like it doesn't feel like it's not forced or anything, right? And it's not some kind of act of desperation. It's literally just like a happening
mhm.
of the cause, all the causes and conditions are sufficient for the deepening of practice, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so as a result, practice deepens, right? And I
yeah.
imagine that um, if I F it up, then the causes and conditions for less practice will emerge and I will get to experience that again.
Mm,
So we'll see. But yeah, there's definitely a correlate, like it is causes and conditions, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
so just like you yourself are talking about in terms of changes at work and things like that, those kinds of big shifts have been helpful. There's been a lot of having to let go of
Yeah.
really big things in my life, whether it's business ownership or loving partners and things like that, like all kinds of stuff that I've had, like it just like if I wasn't willing to let it go, it got let go for me, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm, mhm.
And as a result, and so like in the letting go of these things, that it feels hard because I don't want to let go, right?
Yeah.
Like that's my solid ground. That's what I know myself as, and that's how I relate to other beings and stuff. And it's like what we were talking about exactly last week, the wisdom of not knowing, right? Is that little did I know that all of this letting go of stuff was going to yield the causes and conditions for the deepening of practice,
Mhm, mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
and that's been really joyful, right? That experience has been really good. So, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, and I don't want to like it's easy, it would be easy to look at it too much and make
Mhm.
too much meaning out of all of it. All I can say is the sun is shining, the clouds aren't present, and I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. Uh I am interested in how like the external conditions influence practice. And noticing in my own life where change needs to happen for me to actually have a deep practice. And that's hard. It's hard to notice that,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and to make those shifts. So yeah, just
Yeah, well, I don't
encouraged.
know,
Yeah.
uh the succession guru yoga text that has been shared with us before, right? Like the short version of it. One of the things that's not lost on me is the final stanza, or the final like verse, part of it says, I request that the grace of the three jewels of refuge, following on by cause and effect,
Mhm.
shall fulfill all the prayers that I now set forth and lead me across to enlightenment shore, right? And
Mhm.
so I love that. I love that because it's like it's freaking real. Like
Yeah.
cause, like this isn't happening. It's not happening by magic. There's no
Right.
like woo woo. Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes it feels like woo woo
It
because
feels woo-woo.
I can't see
Sometimes.
it. I can't see all of the causes and I can't see all of the effects. So that which I cannot see and cannot understand, I ascribe to woo-woo magic, right? But it
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
all cause and effect. And what I'm asking for, what I'm praying for here is, in fact, please give me the causes and conditions that will lead to my enlightenment, right? And that includes, the basis for bodhicitta, which is, as we're going to talk about, kind enemies and harmful forces.
Yes, yes.
Bring them on.
Bring them on.
Yeah,
Great. Well, thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a good time to be practicing mind training. Yeah, when
Yeah, no, let's not stop.
yeah, we must.
I think that might be an F up if we do.
Yeah. I think that's maybe certain. I mean, I'm sure there's many meanings to don't fuck it up, but maybe that's another one is like just keep going, like
Keep
don't
going.
stop.
That's right.
Like don't
That's
stop
right.
the mind training. Like
Yeah.
don't rest right now, you know? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. You got this. Like, keep it going.
keep
Right.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're gonna keep it going, should we do some mind training?
Let's do it.
All right.
Lojong.
Lojong, baby. Here we go.
All right. Okay. Number 43. Observe these two even at the risk of your life. So Choyam Trungpa says, you should maintain the disciplines you have committed yourself to, in particular the refuge vow and the bodhisattva vow. You should maintain the general livelihood of being a decent Buddhist, and beyond that, the special discipline of the practice of Lojong, or mind training. This practice should become a very important part of your life. For tantric practitioners, this slogan means that in this life and in any future lives, you should keep the three yana discipline. This applies to dharmic principles in general and to the practice of Lojong in particular. You should always keep that bond or samaya even at the risk of your life.
Yum. Yeah. I must admit that I don't keep the bodhisattva vows at top of mind.
Yeah, I know. I have that
When
problem
I
too.
when I on occasion reflect on them, I'm like, yeah, yeah, I think I'm doing all right with it.
Hmm.
I think I am maintaining them, but I just don't, they're not sort of at the forefront. And
Yeah.
and I have to actually say that even though the refuge vows have I there has been trouble with them since taking refuge. You know, those have been instructional sort of moments, and now there's not a great deal like I'm still practicing, of course, that and maintaining the vows, but it doesn't. I don't really think about them much either. It's just sort of
Mm-hmm.
like habit pattern, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that this other part, which we've talked about extensively already, which is the mind training part of it, that part is critical and should never stop, right? Like it's just like that when we talk about the deepening of practice, it's the deepening of mind training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that where you're constantly seeing the nature of your mind and what's happening and and reminding yourself like of what your intentions are as you were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Even at the risk of your life.
even at the risk of your life.
which yeah, I can say that, but I don't know how it would play out if like, Chinese communists like were to burn down my village and, you know, uh and capture me and uh torture me. I don't know what kind of Buddhist I would be in those kinds of conditions.
Yeah, may
I
you
don't
never
know,
find out.
maybe I would. Yeah, I hope I
Yeah.
don't have to find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think about that sometimes. It's like, wow, these incredible practitioners that kept their training, that kept their practice, and that
Right?
kept their bodhisattva vows with, their torturers.
That's
It's incredible.
truly, they're inspiring stories. And I think that I think the lesson that we can learn from that is that they didn't start their practice in the torture chambers,
Right. Yeah.
right? It's a continuation. It just continued there, right?
Hmm.
Deepened there. They got more opportunity to work with it, right? But if they had not already been skilled, had they not already had this pattern of, watching their mind and this discipline, if they hadn't already had that, there's no way they could have survived that and maintained their discipline, their vows, their samaya.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Keep
we got to
practicing.
keep
Don't fuck it
practicing. Just
up. All right, who we got?
nice wooden seated Buddha.
Lovely.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
that's the first time we've seen this one, maybe.
yeah, I don't recall seeing it before. I wonder if do the pictures change?
I don't know. I don't think so because we've had I've remembered slogans based off of pictures that I found interesting.
Okay, okay. Because
Yeah.
I thought that this one the slogan feels familiar, but not the little statue.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, it's nice
Yeah,
nonetheless.
yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, well, hello, friend.
Hello, friend.
I'm glad we're talking about this tonight
What
because
made you bring it up?
yeah, well, um I've been thinking about this since starting my new job, because uh, I noticed like going into a new space, new clinic, new people, I could I could see like this tendency arise of like trying to figure out who would be a friend, who would be an ally,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
who would be someone I wouldn't get along with and who I might need to like be watchful around,
yeah.
right? And so it was just kind of interesting to notice that. Like, I've just met these people, I have no idea who they are, and I'm already putting them into possible friend enemy type boxes, right?
Positive, neutral, negative.
Right. Yeah, it's just so blatant, right? And so I thought, it'd be fun to just kind of look at like what does the, contorted, like disturbed mind, how does that mind see what a friend and enemy is? And then, what does maybe a more enlightened mind see as a friend?
Yeah,
So yeah, that's kind of where it came from, was
I
this like
love it.
just very obvious tendency that came up.
Right, you were watching your mind and you were like, look at and there it goes again. Look at it doing its thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a friend in that situation is with the ordinary mind, someone who is like me in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
right? Like some maybe has similar politics, maybe dresses similar, maybe has like an edge of queerness going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, that I can easily just kind of like slip into a friend place with. But then,
Uh,
yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, I love so on the topic of the friend part. So I think the enemy part is juicier in general.
Yeah.
But on the friend end of the spectrum, it is kind of interesting that the sort of classic Buddhist teachings do touch on this idea of foes in the guise of friends or enemies that look like friends.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Because they may be like you, they may be political, they may have a touch of queerness, they may just, you might vibe, might like the same music and all of that good stuff. Wonderful, wonderful. But if they're exploitive at all, if
Hmm.
they engage in a lot of like sort of empty talk,
Gossip. Yeah.
gossip and that kind of stuff, or they condone wrongdoing,
Hmm.
mm-hmm. Right? If
Hmm.
they're overly flattering of you, like always telling you what an awesome, wonderful person are, even when you're not,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, those are
You know,
dangerous friends.
those
Yeah.
are dangerous. Those are not friends, actually, right? Like a friend is not all, surely it's positive, of course, that's what a friend is, but they're like, I think that something, how does it, like a well-polished mirror that shows you
Mhm.
even when you're dirty, right? You got a dirty face and it shows that.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, and it's like the unhelpful friend, quote unquote, um, is someone who's like, yeah, who's not willing to show those things. Maybe, and I think a lot of times it is just because like people are ignorant, right? And don't know a lot
Yeah.
of times that what would actually be helpful. And so we're just, we do things like, yeah, that person was messed up,
Yeah, yeah,
like that kind of thing,
exactly.
and I think it's just because most people don't know what a good friend is. And so we just
Agreed.
kind of like immediately get behind, the person that we, say is our friend.
Right.
But yeah, it's not helpful. Yeah, and then an enemy, right? Like there it was so funny. I met this person at the clinic who I immediately was like, just okay, that's not going to be someone who's friend. But I don't know. But it was because I got a sense of coldness coming from him. It
Yeah.
was like he wasn't immediately warm and like asking
Yep.
me questions. He was
Yep.
just like, very short, looking away from me,
Right. I know what you mean. I get it.
And yeah. And so immediately it was just like, okay, there was a little bit of like a, well, fine then, kind of feel inside.
Oh,
But it
I've
was fun to
learned
just watch it.
it is fun to watch it. I've learned though that I actually I'm kind of attracted to them.
Yeah.
So
Like
there's something
you wanna get
because
to
they're not neutral,
uh-huh.
right? And so like yeah, yeah, of course I want the friends and the people who like me and I like them, of course.
Yeah.
But the people that like what you just described, they pique my curiosity, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't think I like you, but what is going on here? And especially because in the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years, I keep seeing this recurring theme in my life
Mm.
that people enter into my life who at first blush like irritate me.
Hmm.
There's something about I don't like how cold they are. How, they
Hmm.
don't warm. I'm a likable guy. Why aren't you loving me right away? Right? That kind of stuff, right? And there's something like, and so what I've noticed is that those people, if they stick around within my sphere of, whatever, my connections and stuff, inevitably it flips and they become somebody that is incredibly important to me.
Mm.
Right. And so I've noticed it again and again and again, right? And it's actually very similar in some respect to like the chud practice, right? In
Mhm.
which, your demon becomes an ally, right? Like
Yeah.
that there is that the transformation isn't just the transformation of negative thoughts into positive ones. I mean, it is, but in many cases it's recognizing and unearthing, like they've got that they have Buddha nature, right? That they are actually an enlightened being.
Yeah.
Right? And so what is it? Where is that goodness? What is it that is obscuring that? Why can't I see it? Why are they, what are they, what kind of mechanisms are they putting up to protect it? And
Mm.
all of that, right? I find that really fascinating and it kind of makes me like kind of go after them a little bit.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I would love to hear maybe some of your strategies for befriending an enemy and like learning from them. Like how do you do it? How do you go after? Like what's the juice there?
I think, well, first, genuine curiosity,
Hmm.
right, is the first one. And then doing what the Dalai Lama is talking about in this book, which is deconstructing this solidity of it and recognizing like, oh yeah, look at that. There's a collection of aggregates over there, just like there's a collection of aggregates over here, affected by causes and conditions and karma and blah 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 blah, right? Okay. Okay, so that's what's going on here. And that just drops. And it just like all of it actually reduces the polarity
Yeah.
and it basically causes everything to become sort of neutral again, right? And then from that ground, there's this sort of like I don't know, like it's usually like a gentle exploration of continuously like again and again brushing up against them, and not so one of the so my old me also did the same kind of thing,
Mm.
but it was with an aggression.
Totally. I've
Uh,
done that. I've
like
totally
I'm
done
gonna
that.
poke them. I'm gonna keep
Yep.
poking them to see what it is. But I don't poke anymore,
Yeah.
right? It's more like what I try to do is actually so what I've noticed is that like observing them and offering genuine compliments on the things that I observe that are positive, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
basically saying to them, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. And I see you have these you're I see that you're whatever, you're really committed or that you care really deeply about this thing or you don't put up with nonsense or you're really good at drawing boundaries or whatever it is that I observe in them and letting them know
Yeah.
that I see that,
It's
right?
great.
And sometimes it's met initially with discomfort. They're not used to receiving that, or they don't like that I'm observing that I'm seeing them, or whatever. Because it's not coming from it's a genuine.
Hmm.
Has to be genuine,
Yeah.
and when it is, it's usually like it's it's well received, right? Like it basically is like the little Trojan horse or whatever that lets me
Uh-huh.
get on the other side, right?
Yeah,
And then
but it's not
you know,
deception. It's
yeah, yeah, a little, and I get to undermine their defenses, right?
Yes.
But it's not like strategy. I think it is just this, like, I'm curious and I really want to know, like, why don't you like me?
Uh-huh.
Well, because maybe it is actually in some cases it is me, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure. Yeah.
sometimes what happens is I still have strong despite my desires other my wishes otherwise, I still have a lot of the patriarchal sort of attitudes and sort of
Hmm.
old-fashioned sort of male-dominated exploitive sort of capitalistic views, right? Like as much as I wish to shake it, like it's still here, right? And
Yep.
I still, I have like racism and
Hmm.
sexism and all kinds of bigotry and stuff in me,
Totally.
right? And
Yeah.
sometimes what's happening is the another person senses that, and they're
Mm.
like, hey, I don't, I don't know. Daniel's kind of a dick, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I like then I have to receive that. So it's not like a one size fits all sort of thing. In some cases, it's a lot of self-reflection.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like what am I doing here that might
Right.
be making this situation uncomfortable or awkward?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for
exactly
sure.
that.
Yeah.
But
Oh
but
no, it's me.
oh no, I'm the problem. Yeah, because it's usually we're like, well, they're the problem, right?
Yeah.
No, like inevitably it's our mind that's creating the enemy in the first place, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't do it, like they were just existing. They're just
Right.
nothing. Like if it wasn't you, this was one of the first teachings Lama ever gave me in Darshan. Like
Mm,
all phenomena are neutral by nature.
mm,
It's you who causes this polarization. And so maybe don't do that. But sometimes it's charged, sometimes it's supercharged. We all have our enemies, you know what I mean?
mm,
And I
mhm.
got to tell you, so I love to make AI music out of Dharma,
You do.
poems, prayers and stuff. And there is this one um it's called The Blissful Path to the Ocean of Bodhicitta, a
Mm,
brief prayer of aspiration for mind training by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. And I'd never read this before, but as part of my creating AI music, I set this thing to a song. And there's a line in there that I freaking love, right?
mm,
And so like I encourage everyone, please read the prayer at least, right? Maybe print it and put it on your fridge. The
mm,
Blissful Path to the Ocean of Bodhicitta by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. And the line that I love is this one. The only basis for bodhicitta, kind enemies and harmful forces. That's the line that always gets me. And then he says, for your sake, I shall gladly give away my body and my life. May
mm,
you be benefited. And then he goes on to say, from now until I attain enlightenment, may I never be apart from you who do me harm.
mm,
And with calm, untroubled view and conduct, may we set out together on the path to enlightenment, right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
when I first heard, like, I had not read the prayer actually. I heard the song, and I was like, did I get that? Did I type that right? Did I get it wrong?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only basis for bodhicitta, kind enemies and heart. I don't think no, that can't be right. But
Yeah.
then, of course, I had to sit with it because I went and checked, and of course, that's what the prayer says. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, without them, there's no enlightenment.
Right. Because if we're just, feeling kind and, compassionate towards people who like us,
Mhm.
what does that do? Yeah, yeah, that's some powerful medicine right there.
It is. It is. It's beautiful to sit with that a little bit, right? And then we begin to realize like what all of the other teachings have been, the teachers and teachings have been saying, which is, like the real enemy, is in fact, it's your own attitudes, it's your own ideas, your own mental formations, right? That's the enemy. It's your harmful
Uh,
affected
It's
mind.
just getting in the way.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And we should treat them like enemies.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that would be a good discussion sometime. Uh, and like what does that look like, you know?
There
Uh,
there was a beautiful letter, and we don't have time to go over it, but there was this really beautiful letter that Thich Nhat Hanh wrote to Martin Luther King
mm,
about the struggles, the violence in Birmingham, Alabama. And in it, he he makes this case that the enemy is not man, right?
mhm.
And of course he goes on to explain what the real enemy is. And I encourage anybody who's interested in it to look up that letter, because it's really powerful. The language there is really powerful because he encourages us to
Mm.
kill the enemy,
Wow.
right? And you don't hear that if you listen to Thich Nhat Hanh,
Yeah, no, you don't hear that
you would
from him.
never think of him saying you need to kill the enemy, right? But first you got to be clear about what the
What
enemy
the
is.
enemy is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Whew.
Yeah.
Maybe if you'd be open to reading that sometime. I don't know how long it is, but
It's
that
not
could
that
be,
long. It's not that long.
yeah, that could
No.
be really cool. I'd like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good letter. He was, yeah. Yes, I'd be happy
What a
to.
teacher. Yeah. Both
Truly.
of those humans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Those would be good friends, right?
Oh my God, they would be the best of friends.
Yeah,
they wouldn't tolerate us hanging out with our enemies
they would
and
not.
giving quarter to our enemies.
Right.
They would
Right.
never let us do that. That's the good kind of friends they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank goodness we have some good friends.
Yeah.
Um, that's gosh, yeah,
Yes.
can't imagine where I'd be without my sangha and practice.
Amen. Same.
Yeah. Well, friends, thank you so much. I am going to meditate. I might sit with those lines that you just read.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I hope others are able to get some practice in tonight too.
Same. Same.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you,
I
Daniel.
appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you too. And I'll see you next week, both on the computer and in person.
Looking forward to it. I can't
It's
wait.
so nice.
Yes.
Is that true? Yeah, next week.
Coming up.
Yeah,
Let's go.
sweet.
Yay.